Set me free. Set me free. Set me free. Set me free. Set me free.
Yo, guys, welcome to Embrace the Power, Inspire, Coach Connects, my boy Mike G down here in the Rack Studios. We're out here rocking. We got Mike on today. We're going to be talking about real estate, but I need to give a shout out to 24 Hour Works. We're always pump iron in the morning, 3 a.m. I appreciate you guys being open 24 hours and all the people that support Embrace the Power. Mike, how's it going, my brother?
I'm doing wonderful, man. You can call Mike 1 and Mike 2 or Mike A on Mike G because so how you know who you can talk to who?
oh, easy, because I'm just going to go Mike G.
Okay, that's nice. I like that.
Hey, you have to adapt and overcome and make it happen really fast. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I know. I got it.
Hey, so we're going to get into this real deep about real estate because over the last 20 years or 13 years here in Tampa, just in Tampa alone, there's a 13% increase in population.
Oh, yeah.
And we got new money coming in from the East Coast. We got old money coming in from the South. And then we just have inherited money that people are just turning their properties over to their youngsters. So before we get started, Mike, where are you from and how did you get started? And then what made you decide to jump into real estate? And because you're such a godly man. So let me hear it, man.
All right. Well, my name is Michael Alvarez, and I was born and raised in Cuba at that time in 1982. So it was it's a communist place, and but I always has three things that I wanted to do. So one of them was how the real estate market works. Even in Cuba, I was very intrigued always about how can I sell a house, if it is a good business or something like that. Other things I always was concerned as how the air conditioners work. I don't know, that blew my mind. It's a piece of machine that make a lot of noise and you can get a cold air. So
yes, hey, and in Cuba it's hot, so
very hot. And for that point, I also want to work with people and teach them how to make their life better. When I born, my grandmother, when I get out for the hospital, she said, "Well, my kid, he will be or a bakery guy or he will be a preacher."
One of the two.
I made the two things. I made it. So she talked about me before I almost born. So yeah, I came from Cuba, and in Cuba I was an entrepreneur also. I tried to do my best over there. It's very hard to work over there because you don't have too many options, and the communist party is always behind you, and the police and stuff like that, and it's very hard. But I learned some stuff over there that it was easy for me. Not easy, it was better for me when I came to the United States.
Do you think it was a work ethic? I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. Do you think it was like a work ethic thing, or just the fact that you saw that other system and then you move into a capitalist system without the constraints that you had in a communist system? So what was the ideology shift in your mind when you got here? How are you applying those skill sets that you learned in Cuba to America?
Yeah, it was both. It was when I grew up, I was a military like you. In Cuba, all the men have to go to the military. It's obligatory. But I find out something when I went to my call as an army guy. I went to the unit, the big unit. It's a tank unit with almost 5,000 people. A lot of guys like me, very young. But I find out something that when I was there, the majority of the people, there are people coming from the country. So not for the cities, but for the country. The people were there, they're not smart, but they don't go to the highest level of the school. And that's make me realize that is when you know a little bit more than a lot of people, you can be on the top of the change,
Yes.
And I learned that, and from that point, I realized that if I increase my knowledge every day and I start to work on my ethics every day, I will get a lot of things that people normally doesn't get because they don't realize that's the only way you can make it. and that's
Oh
true.
yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Because you sidestep the wording, but it's literacy. So if you don't have the literacy of understanding the system that you work in, and Nelson Mandela said it really eloquently, you must have education to be able to understand the system you're in and understand the rights. So I think a lot of that has to do even with in America in the 1950s, even with African Americans not having the literacy of understanding what home ownership was, understanding how home ownership brings wealth, not for the first generation, not for the second generation, but by the third generation. If you are a homeowner in the right geographical area, you actually can bring wealth to like your third generation.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And I also when I get married with my wife, I was 21 years old. My wife, she's a very smart woman, smart as hell. I'm telling you.
She
Yeah,
married
yeah,
you, right?
yeah. Well, yeah. But you know, I because I always have that impetus to do something. I always has the character to get. Let me get something. I want to get it. So, but I didn't know how to do it, and I have a lot of skills, but I was lack of discipline. I was 21. I almost raised by myself because I have to make it from 12 years even to 10, 20 by myself. I went out of school. So I went to the school out of my town 11 days. And then I go back 3 days to my house. And then I have to do that all the time. I did that for almost 8 or 9 years. So I have to raise by myself. I have to try to make it by myself. But I have no discipline in my life at that time. So when I know her, everything changed because I have the needed. I want to make it. And she said, okay, if you want to make it, you have to be disciplined because
Right.
she's smart, but she also is very disciplined. And there is
Right.
two things, Jordan Peterson says that is two things that will make you success. One, it's IQ. So if you are a smart guy, it make you success on the workplace. We're talking about workplace.
Right.
Second one, you have to be very conscious. And conscious means you have to be disciplined.
Right.
With that set of skill, you will always success because that's what he takes to be successful.
Right. You hit a key point, but you said something, and I'm going to go back to it right now. You
Okay.
said your wife, and I was listening to the female preacher named Taylor out of Dallas at one of the big churches, and there was a comment made during one of the things that she was saying, and later I saw it on TikTok. It shows why men are successful and over six figures, and they said the first thing is that they married right.
Oh yeah, definitely. We can talk 3 hours about marriage. I can tell you, I have 20 years experience of that, and it's been very hard. But that's for me. It's the second most important decision you can make in your life. Is who you make with partner with.
Right.
First, for my understanding, it's know God. When you know God, everything change. Everything change. Everything because what actually does it's change your mindset completely. You blow on your mind, so you go out to the sky. You don't stay on earth anymore. But the second most important option that you have, or the choice that you have, is choice a nice person who will be by your side.
Right. Tough times and good times.
Someone is willing to tell you what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. Someone to they can support you when you are in your lowest place, and someone who can you work with when you are in your highest place. That's
Absolutely.
very important. And for my understanding, and the people I know, almost all of them were married for a long time because it's the Bible says that one, so two is more than one because
right.
It's one fell, the other one helped to take it out, and if there are cold, two people can be warm.
That's correct. That's correct. That's true.
It's basic knowledge.
It's basic knowledge. Mike G, you got anything, man?
Oh, he's right, man. What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
I'm doing, Bobby. I'm doing well.
Okay, you're doing good, man. What is the hardest part? So I know you do a lot of houses. You've been doing houses, and you started in, para arriba. So, what is the hardest part in selling the house? Is talking people into it, or is it because what is the hardest part of the job? Because I can't sell cars. I don't sell
can't
houses.
tell you. I don't know. It's make a good presentation. That's it. Everything is about presentation. So as a realtor, as a person, if you're a salesperson, whatever you do, you have to set a couple of skills, and one of them is uh, you have to learn how to speak properly. For example, I'm from Cuba. I learned how to speak English here in the United States. I didn't speak English at all. I came from Cuba. I didn't know anything. So I came and said, okay, this is Florida. I'm in Tampa. Everybody speak English. So if I want to make it, I have to be able to communicate, because communicate is the basis of everything. Suppose that you have a friend. If you cannot talk to him, how will you express what you have? So communication is based on people. So first things that you have to do is learn how to communicate properly.
Yeah.
Work on your walls, man. There is we got plenty of information online in the library, everywhere. And if you don't know how to communicate, if you don't know how to present your product, if you don't know how to sell yourself, how you can make it? It's impossible.
Oh,
So, for example, I always say that when somebody want to try to buy a house, I am a realtor, I have an interview with them, and they always come because, the realtor, they want to sell me a house. And I always break that part easy. I say, hey, listen, man, or whatever it is, I don't sell houses. Say, what do you mean by that? No, I don't sell houses. I educate you how to buy a house.
that was good. That's good advice.
That's it. It's different. Now I'm give you the power to choose. I just giving you my advice. What should I do in the market the way it is, and what is the best advantage you can take in this position? So I'm going to teach you, but you take your decision, because I don't want to take the responsibility for someone over my shoulder. Second, you are going to pay the damn mortgage. It's not me. Why you give me? Why are you going to give me the responsibility to choose for you? So, but my thing is, hey, let me teach you how to buy a good house in a new neighborhood and make the best business you can, because that's the only way. And when you do that, people say, okay, that guy he's not trying to sell me a house. He's trying to help me how to buy a house.
Absolutely.
And from that point, I start.
I talk to young people all the time. I speak a lot on influence, and then you're hitting points that you really need to be brought in and talk to students. I think the earlier people are educated on home ownership and how to buy a house and wealth. Like here I am. I got 3 daughters. They all before they were 30, they all own homes. I told them day one, I don't care. Once you get out of college, the next thing they go, Dad, what's the next thing we're doing? I said, I'll buy your car. You need to get a house.
Oh yeah.
You need to buy a home. So they all own homes. And so then now they look at me and they go, wow, Dad, you were right. Home ownership. I said, I told you, if you can buy a house in your 20s, you are ahead of like 70% of our population in America, because you're a home owner in your 20s.
My son, he have 25 years old. He just get married. He have 2 houses.
That's what I'm saying.
One, he have like 3 apartments that he making a lot of money on that, and the other one he's living by himself. Very nice house, almost $500,000 house, close to the neighborhood, very nice. I say, hey, let's do it. Let's buy a house. We bought the house, and I helped him to remodel everything, because I have a construction company, So I also do flips, stuff like that.
Oh, I'm going to be calling you then, man, because I need some help. I'm renovating mine now. We're going to talk after this, Mike.
Yeah. So I help him. He have 2 houses right now. He knows. So he worked with my wife in the mortgage company. So I said to him, when 21 years old, he have 70-20 in the score credit. I teach him. I say, hey, listen, this is the only way. If you start early, you will be able to finish earlier.
Yes.
No,
yeah,
if you
retire early, absolutely.
If you start your earnings 20, you can say, hey, 60, I have 10 houses. Why should I work more or harder? I have almost $5 million in Tampa just in properties. So I don't want to do that. And I made the strategy to do that. So we can talk about later. But for me, because my wife, she's a mortgage broker. And she, like I said, she's very smart. And she teaches me a lot. And I want to learn. And then I sit and I think, because I love think. People doesn't love think, but I love think. Because, the basic, the Lord says, if you will know the truth will set you free. So the
Absolutely.
only things we have in our life, the only things we help us in our life is truth. If
That's
we
right.
don't know truth, we're screwed.
Hey, so let me ask you, Mike, what's your average day? So when you wake up in the morning, kind of give me and Mike G, kind of like, from your perspective, when you wake up in the morning, give me just one day in your life, how you process everything to become successful. Because what you're about to say, drop me right now, this information and this knowledge is going to help some young person watching this show. And they're like, I want to be like Mike Alvarez. How do I get there? So, and I tell people, you can't be playing video games. You can't be drinking. You got to be dialed in on what you're chasing, man. Because this is a long game that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So go ahead, brother.
I wake up 7:30 every day because I have a 13 years old kid. So is the minor. I have 3 kids. That one is the minor. I have to go to the school with them. So I get early in the morning. He also he wake up at 6 and he make his own breakfast. I teach him how to do it because they have to learn how to make by themselves when they're grown. So I wake up in the morning, I get my car, and in my car, the first things I do is I plug news, world news, how the world is working right now. What is the problem we got right now? So, and for that perspective, so I start to make my day because we need information as most good information we have, as most powerful we became for, So I guess, okay, I can listen Peter Sefner. I can get for Jordan Peterson. I can get for Jim Robb. So people that they make, people, very smart people, they are very successful people. Actually, they are very accessible people. When you hear that, you can understand very clear because they don't go around a lot of bullshit. They just say what they have to say and the right way to say. So that's my starting day. I leave my kid in the house and then I go back. I have my prayers. I have my lectures, the Bible. The Bible is the most important, powerful, stronger, and nice book that you can read in your life. Actually, somebody says, Bible is not the truth. It's not just the truth. It's the basics truth. Everything starts from that point. So if you learn how to know the basis, oh man, you can make the complicated things.
That's right.
And
well,
yeah. That's the good thing. So then I go back to my house and I make a very nice Cuban coffee. I have a very nice espresso machine. And I make a very nice coffee and I sit, I read a little bit. My wife, she get up and we talk about the day how we're going to do it. I have my agenda. I read, my day. And from that point, I get my car and I start working on that. I go to my office. I do have to do. Sometimes I have to go to the workplace because I have a house and that is the process of the modulation. Sometimes I have to have a meeting with my general contractor. Sometimes I have a meeting with my producer because let me tell you what I do. This is crazy, but that's what I do. So I am a real estate agent. I am also a broker. I also help my wife to run the company. Also, I have the construction company. Also, I have I am a producer in the music company, and I also have my podcast, and I'm a pastor.
You have my schedule there.
I'm always busy. And but I try to set my week on that. But I have priorities on my life. My first priority is myself because everything comes from myself. So I have to take care of me. I have to do some exercise. I have to eat well. I don't, have a good diet and stuff like that because that's the only way I can work a lot. So I sleep just 6 hours in a day. That's it. No more than that.
I'm about a 4-hour sleeper. I'm right there with you because I figured
be high. You should be like,
yeah. But at 30 years in the military, they kind of help you how to sleep on less sleep. Less sleep, get more done, right? And so I love Arnold Schwarzenegger's comment, like it's fueling you, is that it's like he always used to say, sleep less and do more. And then the thing is, I started getting rid of things that I found that were idle in my life that were keeping me from being successful. And so I see that right there is that you're on that path. You're making those strides in the right areas. So as you look forward to this, how do you think you're going to help the next generation? It's easy to help your internal family and friends, But if you had to yesterday, if I threw magic dust at you and you could make a difference in the world with other people, because this is going to go out and help some people, how would you approach helping younger people earlier understand that to end generational brokenness and find wealth at a younger age? How would you express that in talking to them about real estate?
So I will talk about responsibility all the time. I will talk about responsibility because you cannot have a generation without responsibility. That's the first thing. So you have to be responsible with your life first. You have to work on yourself. You cannot love kids, work like kids if you don't love your. You cannot love women if the women by your side is not loved by you. You cannot talk about mothers if you don't treat well your mother. So the first thing as I will talk with the young people is you have to understand that it's on you. It's not your father. It's not your brother. It's not the neighborhood. It's not the city. It's not the country. The problem is you. And you have to work on you. And you have to start from the younger point to make good decisions. It changes your life. Listen, you have to understand that life is by season.
Yes.
That's very powerful. It's winter, spring, summer, fall, and winter again. You cannot wear a clothes in winter that's supposed to be wear in summer. You will freeze up. You will be in trouble. That's basic. Life is by season. Right now in the real estate, we are in a season that everything goes slow because the situation around the world is not the best. We live 10 years behind the best 10 years in human history. Growing economic, growing politic, growing every freaking step in the human history.
Yes.
Second advice, learn history. You will be so blessed if you know how your grandparents live, or you don't. You will so blessed that you know that the rules was always poverty. People were always poor till capitalism coming to the show, coming into the era. So if you learn that, you will not be, crying around, I don't have this and I have that. No, you will say, well, first, it's my choice. It's me the one who have to make it. Second, I don't deserve anything because you have what you deserve. You know that, right?
Yes, that's right.
You know what you want. You have what you earn. So if you are an attractive person, you will always have person by your side. If you are not an attractive person, people don't want to be with you.
Unless you earn some wealth.
Well, you have to learn how to treat people well. Everybody has dignity. Everybody, treat everybody, even if he's an asshole. Treat with dignity. Learn that you can learn from someone and someone can learn from you. You are in this earth to fulfill a purpose. When you understand that, you start to work harder. You have a reason to wake up every freaking day and try to make it. Every day is an opportunity to change your life. Don't be around PlayStation or man, listen, you will live just one time. You don't have second opportunity. Take your butt out of the chair and start doing by yourself. Be nice with people. Learn how to be tough. Learn how to be dangerous. But do not exercise force.
That's right. Control. We call it control.
Control yourself.
You have control balance. You still got to be a beast.
Yeah.
But with control. Mike G, what you got, bro?
Listen, that's nothing but truth, Miguel. Nothing but truth. And this has been a knowledgeable show. Thank you for coming on, man. But everybody, this is some knowledge right now. That's what I got to say. You got me quiet. You got me like, oh.
Yeah, during the years, I learned because, man, I love to help people. I just love to help people. And I find out that the best way to help somebody that is hungry is not giving a hamburger. It's hey, do you want to learn how to buy a hamburger? Do you want to learn how to not just want a hamburger? Do you want to learn how to pay for a very expensive big steak? Come to me, because there are not expensive stuff. Yes. There are stuff that you cannot pay for. That's different. If you ask Bill Gates, hey, that house, $50 million, it's expensive. He said,
nah. Not for me.
It's expensive, not for him. So right. It's just perspective. So things are not expensive. You are lack of money. So learn how to make money, and you will see that Gucci is not expensive. That I don't know, Mercedes is not expensive. It's just that you don't have the ability to pay for it.
Right. You hit a key point, and I take this one thing very seriously, and I always tell my kids this, is that when you're in your younger years, you don't need. They always go, Dad, you got all nice cars. I said, here's the problem: is you're looking at 35, 40 years of working wealth at the end. You're not looking at when I drove the $500 car, and all my friends had their little nice cars. I didn't care if the girls talked to me or not, because I was going to work. I could get where I needed to be, and I could build what I was going to build. So I always remind my daughters all the time is, yeah, you guys got it easy now, but you didn't have it that easy. I didn't have it as easy as you do, but it took me 30 to 40 years to get where I'm at. But you want what I have, with, like Picasso said when he drew that painting for the lady, and he did it in 15 minutes, and the lady goes, "You're going to charge me $32,000 for this painting?" He said, "It took me 30 years to learn how to paint in 15 minutes." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't see it. It's like I tell everybody, don't be a trust fund baby. You want to be a person that builds your own wealth.
Yeah.
So Mike, before we get out of here, man, if you had to leave your imprint in the sand on the beach here in Tampa or Clearwater, St. Pete, Sarasota, what last words would you give us all before we get out of here, man?
Well, my advice is this: real estate is the most powerful market in this world from the beginning. So the first thing that the man received was a land. So it was a place to culture. It's real estate, right? The first things. So that's the most valuable, and it retained the value.
That's right.
So if you learn how to do real estate, you will always be on top of everything, because people have to understand how currencies work, how money works. Money is not that powerful. It's what is behind the money, what the power that money can put on the market. And if I have to give advice to young generations to make it, I just say, hey, look at me. I came from Cuba with one coin in my pocket. My wife, 3 kids, no English, no knowledge of capitalism, just with the wish that I can do something big over here. This is a big country around the world. Also, we are in the second state more powerful right now, economic, logistic, in everything. We are in a very good position right now. So please take that not for granted, take that for grace. So you are receiving something that not just 1.5 or 1 or 0.5, 0.6 or of the people in this world can do, and you are in the right path. So make yourself better, work on you, work on your people. Try to set a team who can work with you and help you to go up, and try to help everybody to go up with you. This is very important.
That's correct.
Teamwork, it's the most powerful work that you can do in your life. It's not about money. It's not about how much you have. It's who you became. Awesome. Who you became. If you became someone, people will respect you. And for the end, you have a bucket. Bucket always are filled. An empty pocket is not. An empty bucket is not empty. It has air inside. How much can be? $20. That's it. Now, if you fill with oil, maybe $45. Then, if you fill with I don't know, oil, petroleum or gas, maybe $100. If you fill with grounding gold, how much will be?
Oh yeah.
So the problem is not the bucket. The problem is what is inside the bucket.
That's correct. That's
If
very
you-
Bruce Lee, man. You went Bruce Lee on me.
if you feel that with good things, you will always have a great value. And people in this market, in the work market, they are looking for skiller people who want to learn, people who want to work more and say less, people who want to make it in this country and takes the next generation into the next level. That's my advice.
Oh, bring it home, baby.
Yeah.
Bring it home.
You
Hey
got me.
guys. Hey, Mike, I want to thank you for coming on the show. That was Mike Alvarez, man. And if
It was
you're
a
looking for
pleasure.
a home, if you're looking for a home, go to Home Snap and
Oh,
look
yeah.
up Mike and punch, and give him a phone call and let's do this. And as me and Mike G always say, keep it
Rolling.
God bless you guys. It was a pleasure being with you. It was a very pleasure. Mike G, man, I feel you. Mr. Vincent, it was a very, very honor to be with you. And I hope that we can meet, around and we can keep talking about good stuff.
we doing lunch,
Because-
bro. We doing lunch.
we got a lot to say. We got a lot to say and to teach and learn and share, and it would be nice to do it. So God bless you and have a wonderful weekend, man.
Yeah, you too. God bless you too.
See you there.